Alright, let's dive into something that's been buzzing lately, the story of Eric and Wendy Schmidt's $110 million Los Angeles mansion. But this isn't just about a fancy house, it's a story that touches on wealth, environmentalism, and the messy politics of housing in California. So, let's break it down. First off, the hook here is pretty wild. The Schmidts, with Eric being a Google co-founder, bought this massive 56,000 square foot estate, larger than the Taj Mahal, by the way, but they are not living in it. Instead, it's being turned into a party palace for their non-profit events. Personally, I think this is where the story gets interesting. It's not just about the extravagance, it's about the optics. Here you have a couple worth billions, buying a mansion that most people can't even fathom, and then using it for parties while fighting against housing reforms in California. What does that say about their priorities? What does it say about the disconnect between the ultra-wealthy and the rest of us? Now, let's talk about Prop 45, the housing reform measure they are opposing. The idea behind Prop 45 is to streamline environmental reviews to make it easier and cheaper to build housing in California. Sounds reasonable, right? But Wendy Schmidt and her ally, Jane Fonda, are fiercely against it, arguing that it's a threat to the environment. Here's where it gets tricky. On one hand, environmental protections are crucial. California's natural beauty is part of what makes it special. But on the other hand, the state is in the middle of a housing crisis. Rents are sky-high, homelessness is rampant, and the middle class is being squeezed out. So, is opposing Prop 45 really about protecting the environment, or is it about maintaining the status quo that benefits the wealthy? What many people don't realize is that these environmental reviews have become a tool for NIMBism, not in my backyard, where wealthy communities block affordable housing projects under the guise of environmental concern. From my perspective, this is where the Schmidts' actions start to feel contradictory. They are diehard environmentalists, which is commendable, but they are also part of a system that perpetuates inequality. Their mansion, for instance, is being renovated with solar panels and a new HVAC system, great for the environment, sure, but also a luxury most people can't afford. It's like they're playing by their own rules while advocating for policies that keep others out. Another detail I find fascinating is the involvement of Hollywood and Silicon Valley elites in this fight. Wendy Schmidt and Jane Fonda co-founded Clean and Healthy California, a PAC that's raised millions from big names like Laurene Powell Jobs and Penn. These are people who have the resources to make a difference, but their focus seems to be on preserving a certain lifestyle rather than addressing systemic issues. If you take a step back and think about it, this is a classic example of how the wealthy can shape policy to protect their interests while framing it as a noble cause. This raises a deeper question: can you be both an environmentalist and an advocate for social justice? In my opinion, the two should go hand in hand. But in this case, it feels like environmentalism is being weaponized to maintain exclusivity. The Schmidts' non-profit work is undoubtedly important. Their Schmidt Ocean Institute does incredible research, but it's hard not to see their opposition to Prop 45 as a way to protect their own privileged bubble. What this really suggests is that the debate over Prop 45 isn't just about housing or the environment, it's about power and who gets to shape California's future. The Schmidts and their allies are using their wealth and influence to block reforms that could benefit millions, all while hosting lavish parties in their mega mansion. It's a stark reminder of how the 1% can manipulate the system to their advantage. So, where does this leave us? Personally, I think the Schmidts mansion is more than just a symbol of wealth, it's a symbol of the contradictions in our society. They are fighting for a healthy, resilient, secure world for all, but their actions seem to benefit only a select few. As we wrap up, I'll leave you with this thought: what would California look like if the ultra-wealthy used their resources to solve problems instead of preserving their own interests? It's a question worth pondering as we watch this drama unfold.